Recommended Representative Piscopo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I appreciate it. I would just like to say a few words on this bill. I don't think I have any questions for the proponent. I understand her passion for this and her commitment to this, and I just want to offer a gentle rebuttal on this bill. The title of the bill, Zero Carbon Emissions, is, if you look at that, I understand that. Carbon emissions, what goes through your head when you hear carbon? It's the solid. It's those smokestacks that you saw in the 50s or the 40s just spewing out black smoke, or carbon coming out of an old diesel or something like that, the particulates. And carbon is a pollutant. In its solid form, it is. And even in its gaseous form, if it only has one oxygen molecule on it, it is still a pollutant. It still will kill you pretty good. It's a carbon monoxide. But I think it's kind of misnamed a bit because we're going after carbon dioxide, two oxygen molecules on a carbon molecule. That's the gaseous form. That's plant food. We have carbon in every one of the life forms here. There's carbon in the flowers. There's carbon in our crops we eat. The higher the particulates of the higher the carbon dioxide levels in our atmosphere, the more crops we have, the better our forests do. Our deserts green themselves, and it's a positive thing. Carbon dioxide is not a pollutant, and I firmly believe that. So we have a bill that goes after carbon dioxide, and it's just, I think it's just the wrong way to approach it. And I've spoken in Environment Committee about a lot of common ground we could do, and I'll bring that up later. But to approach it like this is a huge emergency, it really is not. 400 parts per million of carbon dioxide is pretty good. Our crops are doing well. Our apple orchards here in Connecticut, we grow the best apples in the world. Our pear orchards, our vegetables are all doing very well on 400 parts per million. And we could put up with a lot more carbon dioxide. Actually, if it comes to that, it would be advantageous. So I just wanted to just kind of offer that kind of opposite way of looking at things. And the word crisis is right in the first sentence of the bill. We will declare a crisis. That's dangerous. That's dangerous policy, because you then make decisions quick decisions. You don't think them out. You're not planning over years or months. You're in a crisis, so you got to act now, and don't entertain any other opinions or any other thoughtful studies or any other science into this whole thing, into the debate. So to have crisis in the first sentence, and then maybe 2 or 3 times throughout the first section of this bill, I think is just dangerous policy. We have to just let, if you will, and no pun intended, cooler heads prevail here. It's we've always heard the alarmists, and government's great at creating crisis. Our special transportation fund crisis, there's a bunch of crises to get people to act. But it's not good policy. So let's step back and think this out in a more prudent manner. We've always heard these kind of warnings where I think there was Al Gore, I think, produced a movie back in the 90s that said Manhattan was going to be underwater in the early 2000s. It was going to be under the sea in the year 2000, and it's. I think Manhattan's doing pretty good still. Needs a little bit more law enforcement, but I digress. Different opinions like that, where the ocean is going to rise by 12, 15 feet, has been debunked by a lot of scientists. There are a lot of scientists on the other side of this issue. Our former President Obama bought beachfront who sounded the alarm through his whole career, bought beachfront on Martha's Vineyard. He's not afraid of rising oceans. And so we just got to kind of just look at things in a better manner. In 2013, I had to travel a lot. I was a member of his legislative group that I was the national chair, so they made me travel to all over the country. 2013-14, that winter, which was not long ago, it wasn't even 10 years ago, it was the snowiest, the continent was covered in snow like it has never been before. That never has the continental U.S. been covered in so much snow during that winter, 2013 and 2014. In 2014-15, that winter, coldest winter on record in a long time, way 100-year lows. The Great Lakes froze. The Coast Guard was just at wit's end when people were hiking 100 miles out to islands out in the Great Lakes because it was very dangerous, to walk out on a frozen lake like that. They were making camp out there, and they were having a great time. I have a friend that lives on the shore in the Great Lakes, and she said it was quite a sight to see. And Boston Harbor froze till well into August. Huge masses of ice were washing up on Cape Cod shore in the June and July and August. The size of RVs were washing up on Chatham Beach and Truro Beach out there on the Cape. So it's cyclical. The world runs in cycles, 11-year cycles of the sun. The sun gets very active and then it gets very inactive. The Earth's rotation can wobble. That will have an effect on the climate. The orbit can just vary just a little bit and have a huge impact on and it does. And it has an impact on our climate. There are many things. So it's mainly driven by the sun. So, let's just step back. And I remember when the Global Warming Solutions Act passed. I was down here. We were honoring a former House member that was lieutenant governor. She went up to lieutenant governor, and they wanted people that had served with her in the House the last day of session, about 11:30. And so they wanted some House members up there, both parties. I went up there and, kind of watched her and clapped for her, and we took part in that kind of going away ceremony for her. She's a lovely woman. I still love her. So I was happy to do it. I got down here, and the Climate Solutions Act had passed. While I was upstairs honoring a former member on the last day, in the last half hour of the session. So I wish I had more to input on that debate. I probably would have went well after 12 on that one, Mr. Speaker. But we do have common ground, and we've covered that in the Environment Committee. Adjustments to our infrastructure. I voted for common sense improvements to climate events, harden our lines. So we moved a generator for our power plant from the floodplain, which probably should have never been there, up more. And so we moved, we do good infrastructure improvement. We could go, I'm all for that, taking care of our shoreline that way, so to prevent against erosion or some cataclysmic event. Of course, it happens all the time. So that's the common ground we could look for. And I would say we take a more prudent and thoughtful approach to, if you want to get off of fossil fuels. It'll take decades. Let's lay the groundwork. Let's create the infrastructure to do that. Let's wait for the market. Let's improve batteries. Let's improve alternate renewables and welcome them into our economy. Let's not go after the sectors of this economy for little state of Connecticut unfairly and uncompetitively. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you,